Hello and welcome. I'm Laurel Stewart, and here's what happened this week. On Tuesday, ruling party lawmakers demanded an investigation into a vote on a controversial recall bill, where opposition party members physically barred them from participating. Tiffany Wong reports.
本日会议议程均已处理完竣，现在散会。
A 3-minute committee vote on amendments that could make it harder to recall public officials, now under investigation. Members of the opposition Kuomintang quickly called together a meeting and advanced the measures from a barricaded room in Taiwan's legislature, keeping their opponents from the ruling Democratic Progressive Party out of the vote. Early in the morning, the KMT blocked the entrances with desks and chairs and even covered one door in plastic wrap.
强制要修法只会增加这个朝野政党之间的不信任与争议性，那可能对社会上的民意呢也不好交代。
Some DPP lawmakers questioned whether the vote was valid and demanded an investigation by the legislative speaker.
我们立法院这次开议从今年2月1号到现在，不是第一次，已经多次在委员会发生不同形态的冲突。
但连会议室都进不去，这是第一次。针
对今天这个事情，我想我要进行调查完毕之后，再跟大家做报告。听清楚，没有任何人可以。那为什么要变？
But an investigation alone may not stop the Recall Act from moving forward. The bill will move on to the floor for further discussion, where the DPP will need to gain a few allies if they want to stop it. Kama Shri and Tiffany Wong for TaiwanPlus.
Thousands of people gathered on the streets of Taipei to protest the proposed changes to the recall law. Rees was outside Taiwan's legislature to hear what they have to say.
The Bluebirds are back for a second night of protests, this time outside Taiwan's legislature, to voice their objections to plans to amend recall laws from the opposition. The Bluebird movement is a civil protest group that emerged in May over controversial legislative reforms. Now they're targeting proposals by the opposition Kuomintang, which will make it more difficult for elected officials to be recalled. One amendment will require voters to provide a copy of their ID, which the KMT says is to counter fraud. But opponents to the move say it comes with data security risks. Though with the KMT getting support from the third-party Taiwan People's Party, that amendment looks likely to pass on Friday. The second, arguably more consequential amendment will raise the number of votes needed to recall an official to more votes than they were elected by in the first place. This is a change that Taiwan's Central Election Commission says is questionable. That amendment still has a few more rounds in the legislature and is not as likely to pass, as the TPP have said they won't necessarily support it. So why is the KMT pushing for these amendments? Well, the party says there are efforts afoot to try to recall enough of their legislators to kill their legislative majority. On the other side, the ruling Democratic Progressive Party, which opposes the changes, is pointing to an incident this week where KMT legislators physically blocked other lawmakers from entering the room where preliminary voting was taking place on that recall law in committee. Both sides are calling foul play, accusing each other of sidestepping the democratic process for their own political gain. And tensions are set to remain high both inside and outside the legislature ahead of more protests planned on Friday morning ahead of those votes on the amendments. Devon Tai, Leon Lien and Rees in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Top officials from Shanghai and Taipei gathered in Taiwan for an annual forum intended to foster cooperation between the two sides, with implications for cross-strait relations as a whole. Cadence Quaranta has this report.
Shanghai officials were in Taipei on Tuesday for a forum held annually between the two cities. For Taipei, it's the first time the Twin Cities Forum has been held in person since 2018 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. It's supposed to focus solely on city-to-city cooperation, but since contact between Taiwan and China at the national level was cut off in 2016, this forum has become one of only a few remaining cross-strait exchanges. And while speeches from Taipei Mayor Jiang Wan'an and Shanghai Vice Mayor Hua Yuan focused largely on city-level exchanges, both also reference cross-strait relations as a whole. Hua described the two sides of the Taiwan Strait as one family, language that reflects Beijing's desire for cross-strait unification.
两岸同胞啊，从来都是一家人。我们常来常往，越走越近，越走越亲。我认为，
要多一点对话，少一点对峙；多一点和平的橄榄枝，少一点冲突的酸葡萄；多一点渔船灯火的点缀夕阳，少一点船舰飞机的喧嚣呼啸。
Here, Jiang seems to reference Chinese military activity around Taiwan, which has increased in recent years as China has said it will use force if necessary to bring Taiwan under its control. In another significant moment, Hua said he hopes to allow tour groups from Shanghai to come to Taiwan, notable given that Chinese tourists are currently only allowed to visit Taiwan's outlying Jinmen and Matsu Islands.
上海方面将积极推动上海居民赴台团队游。 旅游路线一定会包含台北市。
Reflecting the sensitivity of cross-strait relations, groups who support Taiwan's unification with China and those advocating for Taiwan's independence showed up when Hua arrived in Taipei on Monday. Protesters showed up for Tuesday's forum too, with one dressed as Winnie the Pooh. The character's supposed resemblance to Xi Jinping has become an international meme and led to the honey-loving bear effectively being banned in China. The forum itself was also not without controversy, with 10 members of China's planned delegation barred from entering Taiwan by the government's Mainland Affairs Council. On the city level, the two sides signed 2 memorandums of understanding, agreements to work together on smart healthcare and the conservation of red pandas. But as tensions continue across the strait, many are focused more on the forum's political implications at the national level rather than the local. Justin Wu, Chris Gorin, and Keynes Quaranta for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's GlobalWafers has secured over $400 million in subsidies from Washington. The prominent maker of silicon semiconductor wafers is set to significantly increase its production in the states of Texas and Missouri. The grant comes from US President Joe Biden's Signature Chips Act, which aims to spur US-made semiconductors seen as critical for national security. Currently, about 90% of silicon wafers are produced in East Asia. The skeleton cast of the largest ever dinosaur discovered has arrived in Taipei for a special new exhibit. The specimen from London's Natural History Museum will give dinosaur lovers in Taiwan a chance to learn more about the prehistoric giants. Wesley Lewis has more.
Dwarfed by what could be the biggest animal to have ever walked the earth, visitors are here to see this towering 37-meter-long skeleton cast of a Patagotitan majorum, the largest dinosaur ever discovered. On loan from London's Natural History Museum, this display will be here at the National Taiwan Science Education Center in Taipei for the next 4 months, and getting it in place was no easy task.
我们出动了蜘蛛车，对，就是吊车，然后才能把这个吊起来。那特别的是，如果看一下天花板的话，我们还把科教馆的灯轨跟风管也拆除了，才有办法把它安装起来。
Categorized as a Titanosaurus, a diverse group of land-dwelling dinosaurs, the Patagotitan majorum roamed the planet over 100 million years ago, and is named after the Patagonia region in Argentina, where they were first discovered in 2010. Scientists 3D scanned the fossils to create a cast made of fiberglass, polyester resin, and expanding foam, to successfully reconstruct this skeleton model, consisting of nearly 300 bones. These massive herbivores are known for their distinct long necks that allowed them to forage for food on tall trees. The Patagotitan majorum is literally a big deal. They could weigh over 70 tons, the equivalent of about 8 T-Rexes. This interactive exhibit gives visitors a chance to get up close and personal with the colossal animal, to view it from every single side, and even from underneath its belly. In addition to the behemoth skeletal replica, this special exhibit also includes lifelike animatronic models, allowing visitors to come face to face with various dinosaur species. It's already gone over big with dinosaur lovers and inquisitive school children.
We're here to see our dinosaur friends.
Yeah, our dead friends. Here is our Titanosaurus. 现在有这个机会可以让小朋友从小就接触到，我觉得很棒。
I like the dinosaur bones.
This is the 3rd time the Natural History Museum London has loaned an exhibit to Taiwan in recent years. The curators here say the success of these exchanges demonstrate the know-how that Taiwan's institutions possess and could create more opportunities for international collaborations of this kind, meaning the Patago Titan Mayorum's temporary stay here not only offers an impressive showcase of paleontological marvels, but could lead to even bigger things to come for Taiwan's museums and scientific institutions. Andy Shue, Peachy Zhuang, and Wesley Lewis for TaiwanPlus.
In Taipei, an iconic traditional stir-fry spot is closing for good. For decades, Artsai's restaurant was famous for its classic local flavours, but also as a secret hideout for political dissidents. Joyce Tseng visited the restaurant in its final days.
Opening the doors one last time, owner Yang Xiaoxia is preparing to clear everything out of Artsai's restaurant, once a legendary stir-fry joint in Taipei. After 33 years, it's had its last day of service. Artsai was a local favorite through the 1990s, a time of transition for Taiwan from brutal martial law to democracy. The place was founded by video journalist Yu Yueshu, who wanted a drinking spot for his friends, later selling it to Yang's husband, Liu Jianhua or Ahua, the restaurant's cook turned second owner. Yang, who goes by Hua Sao, says it was her husband who gave the place its glory.
解严以后，那时候是很乱，但是就是那种你在那个地方去，我们可以高谈阔论的时候，那个自由感，让大家觉得很放松。
That freedom helps the joint become the gathering spot for pro-democracy activists, pulling in patrons like Chen Shui-bian, Taiwan's first president from the Democratic Progressive Party, or DPP, that ended the Kuomintang's over 5-decade rule. Other figures known to have dined at the spot include Shi Mingde, the late democracy activist known as Taiwan's Mandela, and more recently, DPP figures Enoch Wu and Freddie Lim. After Ahua died from cancer in 2020, Hua Sao says it's been tough, and so she's decided to close for good.
曾经有听人说，也是我的客人，他说，没有阿华老板在的地方就不像阿财店。最主要的也是成本压力，还有就是最大原因就是我的那个厨师儿子，他身体出了一些状况。
Hua Sao's grateful that up until the last service, customers enjoyed the Taiwanese home cooking and even played traditional games. For its final days, Hua Sao has turned the space into a photo exhibit for patrons to enjoy the atmosphere one last time. For the past 3 decades, this restaurant has also been home to many relics that are quintessentially Taiwanese, like these hand-painted movie posters and also this vintage bottle cap sign for Heisong root beer that the owner is actually putting up for auction starting at almost $2,000 US. And that's not all. Everything here is up for sale, a final draw for the restaurant's longtime customers and fans, some even discovering treasures with a personal connection.
比较意外就是有看到父亲的一套全集啊。以时间来讲的话，就这阿财的店的历史应该是会跟我父亲这个在同一个年代这样。
我很喜欢这种台湾啤酒的小酒杯，因为我觉得这个就是很 very Taiwanese style 的。 然后这也是个非常值得纪念的物品，然后也是代表着这间店的一些历史吧。
Hua Sao says it was a group of longtime customers who proposed and organized the auction.
It's kind of we are preserved everything and want to pass on the memories.
For Hua Sao, letting go of the restaurant means allowing it to reunite with her husband, the soul of a place that brought people together during some of Taiwan's darkest times. Chris Ma and Joyce Sen for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching Here's What Happened. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, check out these mountains dusted with snow as a frosty cold front hit Taiwan. I'm Laurel Stewart. Take care and see you next week.